Alright, Bill Stagg here, Sweet Acre Apiaries. I've had questions over the years about how do I do my pollen patties, so I just want to share that with you today. It's a very simple procedure. I know some of the instructions out there can be a little bit confusing, a little bit head scratching, some strange ingredients. What I just want to share with you is what I do, and I'm going to give this to you in parts. So it doesn't matter if you have 5 colonies, 50, 500, scale it accordingly. So the basic recipe I use is 2 parts hot water, 5 parts granulated sugar, 1 part natural bee pollen, and upwards of 5 parts pollen substitute. Now I use Bee Pro. There's other options out there for you. I'll let you make that decision on your own. Why I say up to 5 parts pollen substitute is it really depends on your final consistency. So I usually put in, initially it's important to get your sugar, pollen, and water. You want that in there first. And then start with about 3 parts of your pollen substitute and then add a little bit more until you get the right consistency. What will often happen is you'll add a little bit, needs a little bit more, needs a little bit more, needs a little bit more. Oh, that's too much. But you'll get a feel for it. The consistency you want basically is say peanut butter that's sitting on the counter, not in the fridge. So again, 2 parts hot water, 5 parts sugar, 1 part natural bee pollen, upwards 5 parts of your pollen substitute. Now, it's important to be said regarding your natural bee pollen, what I'm using is coming from my own hives, and I have complete faith and trust in the health of those colonies. You can very easily spread chalk brood, foul brood, and other nasties if you're using pollen from sick or diseased colonies. You can get pollen that's been sterilized or irradiated. Any patties that are sold commercially with pollen in them that should be irradiated, and I'm sure most of it is, but it's always a good question to ask. But yeah, don't trust Joe down the street with his bee pollen to throw in. Now by volume, that's going to be roughly 10% or upwards 10% bee pollen. It's really a necessary part of your ingredients there. Is what that is going to do. It's going to get the bees to feed on that. If I was going to make patties just with Bee Pro, sugar, water, personally I don't even think there'd be a point. The bees are not going to be all that excited about it, and I don't think it's going to be that beneficial to the hive. Get some natural pollen in there, that's awesome, it's going to do wonders. And the more pollen, if you want to cheat anything in that 2, 5, 1, and 5 formula, put in more pollen if you want. So that being said, I think that's basically it about the ingredients.